Oh, hang on, I got to record. Hang on.
Whose week is it? It's your week. Your week.
Yeah, I think it's my week.
Yeah, it's your week. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I've got mine. Yeah, mine's uploaded and ready to go. And, oh, hang on. What episode are we on? We're on.
He says that, but is it?
Episode 21. Right. There we go.
That's what he's going with. He's like, let's go with 21.
We're going with 21. We're going with 21 people. Anyway, so.
Dorks Down Under.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Dorks Down Under, Season 2, Episode 21. This is the podcast where we just discuss everything of a random dorky nature, as well as basically having our therapy session for a week. For about an hour
works.
long.
It works. It's what we need.
It's a one way for us to correct the universe, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, joining me across the pond, we have Dez from Dez Does. Thank you for joining us.
It's very, very, very chilly today. I've got my jacket on, so I haven't just got massive shoulders all of a sudden from working out. But yes, no, it is a bit chilly in this room today, and the heater's died.
Guys, you've been working out, haven't you? You just want to bulk up and just try and show me up now is what you're trying to do. Obviously,
if that was the case, man, I'd find my older NFL pads and I'd put those on and just come out like this. or Jordan, how is it?
Right, what? How's it going? Right, bruv.
Yeah.
Right, bruv. Anyway, and
don't mind me. I think I lost some weight. And you just got these shoulders up here going. Sorry about that.
And I, of course, am Jordan from Orcs Magic. Sorry about to say we are here, and this week we're going to be discussing the Sony Verse, and basically what we think of, obviously, what Sony are trying to do, because kind of they've lost Spider-Man now, but they haven't. It's really strange.
It's a bizarre situation, isn't it?
It is a bizarre situation, it is entertaining at least, but we're going to have a big discussion about that. In terms of my week, I have busted my arm. I've been doing a few too many gym workouts. I'm sort of like a really bad strain going along here, and it's it's really bad, sort of thing. And apart from that, I've also been doing lots of DIY. Where I'm landscaper now. I'm
Oh, fancy! That's what I'm afraid of. I'm like, I don't want to have to do landscaping. It's just a pain.
Well, originally I was going to get, because obviously we've got a landscaper hired and he's cracking on, and I was like, I said, can I ask a question? How would you edge this? Because he's not doing this one bit sort of thing, and he said, no, you don't want to edge it. And I said, why wouldn't you edge it? He went, oh, because of this, and he sort of laid it out for me. And I said, okay. So what would you recommend I do? He said, have you got some weed mat? I went, yes. So, right, dig that out, shovel all that, put that dirt on this lawn, because it's good topsoil, I'll use it. And sort of it brings your bill down ever so slightly. I was like, oh yeah, all right, no worries, crack on. So I've dug out one side of the driveway, and now I've got the weed mat laid, and then we've got these river stones that we got from one of the other neighbours, and I've started laying them today. I've done about an hour's solid work today, but then my arm started going, and I was like, right, okay, I better stop now, because I'm going to hurt myself.
Good, man. That's what you want.
Because I literally busted my butt the other day getting this thing dug out and the weed mat laid, and it looked good, sort of thing. But I was like, I was knackered afterwards. And no,
I may have just lost everything you just said then, because
that's fine.
For some reason, Performer mode has switched on and just decided that it was gonna. I don't even know if it's because it just said Performer mode and it came on and it just went blah. So I'm like, I don't know what happened there, but I may have missed the last few seconds.
This is the reason why I also record this.
Yes, I must say right now, I don't know what it is with Streamlabs. Like, I know we harp on Streamlabs being shit, but it's been especially shit lately. Like, I just feel like, I don't know, like your sound always seems to be like that, a little bit crackly. Yeah. The video goes in and out, and I'm like, it can't be just because of the internet, because there's no one using the internet today. But I'm just like,
well, my one updated this morning, and so I was like, "Oh, please be working, please."
Yeah, I had to add back in everything. I had to add back in everything.
Mine didn't this time. Mine was fine this time, and I was like, "Okay, I'm fine with that. No problems at all." Sort of thing. But yeah, I'm hoping it will just come out on the wash. But apart from that, it's been my beautiful wife's birthday this week, so we celebrated that last night. So that's also a reason why I think my cold is a little bit worse as well, because we had people over, so I probably got reinfected by people, because there's lots of germs going around our town. At the
Probably should stop going around licking people.
I know, I shouldn't really be licking other people's faces, but it's hard not to.
Yeah.
It really is. They look
It'd be
like
rude
lollipops.
not to, though. Yeah, no. You look sweet. Like, you're fucking weird, bro. He's like, yes, I am.
Apart from that, how are you doing, my friend? You all good?
Yeah, good, man. Yeah, not much has been happening. Just working hard and keeping my nose to the grindstone, I think. And
That's good.
yeah, just not much, man. Like, yeah, I did open some. I got a few. So I had the Magic pre-release on the Wednesday, which I went to there.
Release, yeah. You
That's so much.
jammy sod.
I won't lie though. I love this set. This set is just magic. Like I love D&D set of Magic the Gathering, but I felt like they kind of went into it about 65%. And I'm like I loved the cards that they went in with, and then some of the other cards I'm like, where this one it just feels like they've just like, let's just throw our balls to the wall and just go nuts.
Yeah.
And they've gone in with 100% and it just feels magic. And I did get a little bit lucky where I got a commander deck and a starter deck and a few other things. But I did get three collectors packs. I was like, yes, 3 more chances at the lottery.
3 more chances at the lottery, baby.
3 more chances of getting sweet fuck all, because that's what we got.
Oh, damn it. So you're not celebrating.
I did, because I sent the video, because I'm like, knowing my luck, if I don't film it, I'm going to fucking open something big. And people are going to be like, it's fake. And I'm like, no. So I filmed it really poorly.
Of any cracker pack is you film it, because the amount of times early on from my YouTube channel, Dorks and Magic, the amount of times I opened something off camera and it was immense. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Of all times. So I learnt my lesson very early on. I think I have.
My problem is I opened fuck all, so it was pretty much okay.
That's all right. Oh, well, at least they were free. That's the main thing. Okay, you know.
Yes.
You were still up money technically. You're still up money. Do you not worry?
Yeah, that bit is kind of true, and I do like that it was free, because at $60 a pop they are very much a luxury item, shall we say?
Yes, very much so. I mean, I'm actually surprised that most stores aren't charging more, quite frankly, for them.
Really? I thought that was hella expensive.
No. Normally the collector's packs are normally $50. Obviously, this is a special standalone set, so obviously 60. Yep, fine. But no offense, this has got the potential of a lottery card in, and until it's actually found and publicly announced, I could easily see these packs. Why wouldn't these packs sell for $100 a pop? Logical.
Yeah, but I think the problem must be too, though, is that there's probably rules and regulations set down that if you want to. But
I'm assuming all the Wizards store, all the stores that are part of the Wizards Play Network or whatever it is, probably have to follow their selling guidelines. I.e., it sells for this US. Obviously, translate it to whatever local currency you use.
But I do think that there are probably some of these other smaller stores that aren't part of that Wizard things. They probably could sell them for that. But I don't know. Like,
if you got the big store down the road and they're selling it for this, why would anyone come buy packs from you? But then again, you could easily buy a box and sit on it and just wait it out.
And that's the thing, though. It's like, do these guys that buy cases and cases of it, have they got it sitting there, or is it still out there, or is it in a gift box that I think it got released this weekend?
The gift box. Yeah, the gift box is this weekend. Yes, so I think so. It will be interesting to see where it does turn up. It's going to be a big geek news when that does get a light.
Yeah, that'll be massive.
It's going to be good.
It'll be massive.
So we will be updating this story as it unfolds, ladies and gentlemen.
And I was going to say, and speaking of big stories, massive congratulations to Celine Dion with having a top 10 hit again with "My Heart Will Go On." Have you heard this?
No.
So my Heart Will Go On has re-entered the charts, and I think it was either number 10 or number 12, depending on which article you read, because a whole heap of people have been streaming it and doing different things for those poor people that passed in the submarine that they made out of duct tape and expanding foam, and it's been used in memes and on different things, and it has actually gone back into the top 10.
You got. I mean, don't get me wrong. Are we as a human race going down the toilets? Yes. we do not belong. This is the reason why we do not deserve to be spread out into the stars. We are a virus that needs to be removed from this planet.
It's so true, but it was kind of funny because you've seen massive interviews from like a couple of years ago when he said it, and he's like, they told me that using this wouldn't be good because there's a lot more risk of an implosion, but I didn't listen. Safety isn't a concern because it's just a press button and controller and this, that, and the other. And he's just like, and I've seen so many memes of people going, he's like, oh, go left. Oh, I didn't hit the fish. And he throws the controller and the controller blows up. And then he's like, and then everybody's like, what did you do that for? And he's like, oh shit, that's an old habit. And you just see him float to the bottom of the thing and go, so we can't move anything. He's like, nah, sorry. Or there was another one where he's just like, wait, why isn't it moving? And he takes the batteries out. He's like, oh, the batteries are flat. He's like, I didn't bring spares, and they float to the bottom and stuff. And yes, it is sad that those millionaires died, but I must say the guy that runs it and all the things that he was saying about safety and how he doesn't care and all this stuff, I'm like, yeah, that didn't age well.
It's not gonna work out very well for him in the long run. But anyway,
well, no, he was on it, so he's all right. Yeah. So chances are he's not going to see any of the backlash that happens.
No, but his company's going to be cracked out on. But anyway,
congratulations to Celine Dion.
Congratulations to Celine Dion. Thank you very much. Her heart will always go on. Now the main topic, the reason why we're going to discuss the Sonyverse is because this week we had Kraven the Hunter trailer got released, which I totally forgot about. It was with all this other stuff going on, I completely forgot about the Kraven the Hunter trailer coming out, and then I saw it, and then literally, I think 10 minutes later, which was very early for you, messaged me going, oh my god, have you seen this? And I went, yes, I've just watched it. And then we ended up...
It is sick.
And then we ended up having a very back and forth debate about what we thought and stuff like that. And so we thought, actually, this is probably a good topic to discuss on the show. So for those of you...
because it is kind of like, he is kind of a baddie, but he is kind of like one of those anti-heroes.
Well, this
Riddick, think. I like.
Yeah,
that's what I like about him. I think that's what I like about him most. Is he just reminds me of Riddick.
Yeah. So the way the Sonyverse have decided to go and portray him is they're going to make him more of an anti-hero against his father and all this jazz, but he's still technically bad guy because he's killing people and everything else. It looks a bit John Wick-ish sort of thing.
Yeah.
It looks a bit John Wick-ish, but I'm interested. They have slightly changed the background of Kraven for this movie because in the comics, he's an apex man and all this jazz because he takes he drinks this special witch brew potion from a deep dark tribe in Africa, and he drinks and he learns the secrets, and it obviously makes him stronger and more agile. Hence the reason why he becomes the top hunter of the thing. And then obviously he wants to take out Spider-Man. Because he's not one of the original. I think he wasn't one of the original villains. He came a bit later. But Kraven's brother, the Chameleon, in the comics is his stepbrother. In this one, he's a full brother. In the movie, he was the Chameleon, and he was an original villain of Spider-Man. So whether we're going to get to see...
I'm so confused now. I just saw the trailer and I'm like, this is cool. And Jordan's cool. Just like...
Sorry, it's because I'm a nerd. We can insert nerd memes right now. Okay, yes, Jordan's a comic book nerd. Yes, I love Marvel. Yes, Spider-Man was one of my first comic run series I used to love as a kid. And it was great.
Oh, it's good. Like, don't get me wrong, because I didn't know any of this. I just kind of went, I like the story. It kind of seems cool how he got there. Obviously, it still makes me chuckle that... what's his name? Russell Crowe is in there trying to use a really horrible South African / Russian accent. It just seems to be weird. He's like lacquer brew. He goes, let's go for a braai. And then about 8 seconds later, it's like, you know what I do? I am from the thing. And I'm like, okay, this is why you never did accents, because you don't know which accent you're doing and it changes throughout the movie.
But let's be honest though. He nailed the Greek accent in Love and Thunder. It was a terrible accent though, but it was very, very much on par. It was all right in my opinion. But yeah.
Well, that's the weirdest thing about him is because I remember he used to be like, "Nah, mate, I'm Aussie. I'm not doing I'm not doing an Aussie accent." They're like, "Oh, but you're playing a gladiator who's Spanish." He goes, "It'll be fine. No one will notice." And he comes up. He goes, "Oh, I love." He goes, I'm the Spaniard." You're like, "No, you're not, mate. You're Aussie."
Yeah.
And it's just so bad. And I'm like, you literally played somebody called the Spaniard, and you literally were saying like, "G'day, mate.
G'day.
How's it all going? Stick with me. We'll be fine." I'm like, no.
But yeah, so from basically, so obviously they've changed it. So now apparently a lion bleeds into Craven from attacking.
That's what it looks like. So it looks like he
gains,
shoots him.
and he gains special magical powers, and he's able to connect with animals and all this jazz. And it's like, okay. So my concern that I brought up with Dez was saying how it's just basically saying how you know. I don't get the. I mean, obviously in the comics he would train animals and he could use them, and that kind of makes sense. Hunter, and he has special, and all this. But now he's just able to connect with them because he gained some freaky lion power. It's like,
You know what it reminds me of that always makes me chuckle is remember the old, I think it was the old 80s or 90s TV show, is it Taskmaster? No, what is it called? Oh, it's the animal one. I've got to,
animal.
the one where he's got like a pet lion and, what's it called?
What the hell are you talking about?
He's got like a pet hawk, a pet, what is it? Hang on.
While
pet
Des is
tiger.
searching this up, ladies and gentlemen, I've just realised you can find us available on all good podcast apps. And if you actually want to see our beautiful faces, you can now see them on our YouTube channel as well as Spotify, because we've worked out how to show off the video side of things now, which is quite good. And I double checked it that it does work, and it does. So we are available on vidcast on Spotify as well as YouTube, so you can see our beautiful faces. And make sure you do follow us at Dorks Down Under on our TikTok and our Twitter feed. Thank you very much. And back to Des.
Yes. So sorry. So it was a 1982 movie, and they made 3 of them, and it was called Beastmasters. It was then later made into a TV series in, I think it was 99 to 2002, and it was just this dude that had grown up with animals. He had like a pet, I know it was a pet panther, a pet black tiger or something. And what he would do is he'd go such and such go, and then he'd see through the eyes of the hawk, or he'd be able to get the lion to track him, and then they used to protect him and stuff. And then he had like 2 ferrets that were like little thieves and stuff. Like it was the most random thing from the 80s, and it kind of reminds me of this a little bit because it's just like I can see through animals. No.
Look, I have never seen this ever. Did this even get shown in the UK?
They made 3, I'm pretty sure.
Wow. Honestly,
From memory,
I have never seen this, Des.
I think there's 2. Yeah, it was before you were alive, probably.
Well, it's 3 years before I was born, but not. I ended up watching loads of 80s movies, sort of thing. But this one has never.
Oh, I like it.
No.
I think I've watched it multiple times. But sorry, according to this, the original series was in 1999. And then the second, so it was really weird. So the first film was in 1982. Beastmasters 2, which was Through a Portal in Time, was in 1991. So it came out like 9 years later. And then in 1996, they put up Beastmasters 3.
Oh my god, this looks. Oh my god, it looks awful. It looks so dated, like daylight. Don't get me wrong, you know it's an 80s movie, but god, some 80s movies just age a little bit more better, don't they?
Well, if you go into Beastmasters 3, The Eye of Braxtus, it's literally like obviously the same actors playing it, but it's made in like 1996. It still looks like if you had told me this was made in 87, you'd be like, yeah, that makes it about right.
Oh my god. Funnily enough, I've literally just gone on to the IMDb, and it's come on more movies like this: Krull, Dragon Slayer, Excalibur, and then Beastmasters 2. He's like the 4th one. It doesn't even show the sequels first. It's like, oh my god.
Yes.
Right. Okay. All right. So yeah. Well, there we go. I found a new god awful movie series that I'm going to try and avoid. But anyway.
Oh, it's great. It's fantastic.
So
you got to watch it.
So yes.
Do yourself a favor.
So, obviously, Kraven is a Spider-Man villain, and obviously this is the 3rd Spider-Man villain. Technically the 4th.
Yeah.
Technically the 4th, but the 3rd Spider-Man villain to get his own sort of anti-hero movie-ish.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because it's kind of like this solo film, but they kind of are villains, but then they kind of make them heroes. And
so obviously to recap people, obviously 2018 we had Venom, which I love. I love that movie.
Yep.
It's so good. I thought it was really well done, really well executed. Tom Hardy was good in it.
Tom Hardy was great in that. I actually think he plays it really, really, really cleverly in that role.
Yeah, I quite liked. Obviously, they had Riot. I was a bit disappointed we didn't get to see Siren or maybe one of the other ones as well. But
which one was that? Sorry,
Siren is the female symbiote who has a supersonic scream, sort of thing.
Oh,
which would have been interesting. But obviously, I believe Siren is another offspring of Venom, or it's one where I think a scientist group gets the symbiote and they clone it. They tried and it causes Siren and all this jazz. There's a whole background on that. Anyway, but Venom was great. Okay, I actually really like Venom. The sequel, I was so excited for it. I really genuinely was excited for the sequel, and then it was a bit of it just kind of fell a bit flat in my opinion. I was a bit... I don't know whether it was Woody Harrelson that put me off more than anything.
What's weird though is I was so excited for Woody Harrelson. I thought he was going to be amazing, and that was one of the things that I was very excited for, and that's why I'm surprised that I was like, yeah. But I also think Venom just felt like really like... I didn't like Venom in that one as well, which seems weird. Like, I thought I liked Carnage. I liked that he kind of had that rage tendencies. I like that. Yeah. But Venom just kind of seemed very, like, watered down. Like, the one from the before, he felt like he was almost like he went from being Venom to finding his feet, beating this dude, being, like, really cool and whatnot. And then he kind of just became, like, this little 12-year-old boy that has, like, a spat. And
it was a bit childish, wasn't it? Sort of. I do know what you mean. Yeah, it was kind of a bit... But I mean, the effects. Some of the effects were good. I will admit that.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. Like I think that was great. But I don't know. Like for me, I'm just like I watched it and I liked Woody Harrelson at it and I liked Tom Hardy in it and I'm just like it just didn't have that same sort of gravitas and that same grandeur that it had before, and it just. I don't know, like it just felt like it was a watered down version. Like it felt like, so you know how when sometimes that first movie gets like an R rating and then they're like, actually we need to try to get more people out there, maybe do it an M.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it felt like. And I was just like, no.
Yeah. No, but then, let's be honest, then Sony goes off the rails in my opinion.
With which one?
With Morbius.
Yeah.
And... honest to God, right, I was kind of... I thought, right, the trailer actually does a good job, all right? It suckers you in really good. And I ended up watching it. I didn't go to the cinema to watch it. I watched it through a completely legitimate website. For free.
Naturally.
And I am so glad I didn't spend money to watch this movie because, God, it was awful. Really bad. Oh, my... It was... it just didn't work at all. It was
I like the idea of it and the concept and everything, but it did just kind of feel a bit. I don't know. It felt a bit blah. Like they're just like I get what they were trying to do, and I liked the idea of it. I liked that they had what's his name, Doctor Who in it,
and Matt Smith.
But like,
what it was the point of Matt Smith in this movie? That was it was ridiculous. Realistically,
like it was just like it felt like it was kind of like we've put all this energy into Morbius, how he was doing it. And I think Jared Leto did a great job at the start to do the invalid style thing and everything that he did.
The polio.
But then it just kind of after that when the baddie came in, and this is something that I've said to I think a number of people is I feel like Marvel films, DC films, if they're good, the reason why they're good is based on the villain. Like if you go back and watch Captain America, watch it for just the Captain America bits. if it wasn't for Red Skull and Hugo Weaving in that film I don't think would have been anything because he made such an amazing baddie.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's one thing that DC has missed out on is they've got these big names. They've got like, even then, I think DC probably has some of the bigger names versus Marvel, i.e. the Batmans, the Supermans, and all those people have been out and they've had movies about them before or TV series about them before. So I think they're probably even more well-known names. But I feel like they've always lacked in villains. Like,
yeah, I know where you're coming from, and I feel like that maybe you're right. Maybe they've pitched the wrong villain at the wrong point. Like,
yeah, like I mean, you even take Wonder Woman to Wonder Woman 2. Wonder Woman, she was fighting. It was a god fighting a god.
Yeah.
That lead up into it, that trying to figure it out was great. The second one, so she was fighting Hades, I think it was, and it was this
Ares.
Ares. Sorry, yeah.
The first one was fighting Ares.
And it was like this big bad. It felt grand. There was all these things that were happening. They had these beautiful subplots and things, and it was amazing. And I think you go to number 2, and as much as I love Kristen Wiig's character in it, she wasn't strong enough to hold the movie. And then you had the other dude that just goes like, "What do you want to wish for? All right, I'll get you that."
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, which I love. And don't get me wrong, I
Pascal,
think he's amazing. But I feel like his character was just like, "What do you want to wish for? Okay. What do you want to wish for? Okay." And it's just like, I'm getting extra powers for you wishing for shit. And it's just like, it didn't feel powerful. Like, it's kind of like, why would you send Wonder Woman after some dude about wishes? Like, just go send like fucking, like the Shield guys after it. Like, it didn't have that grandeur that what it had. And I think that's why also the first Superman movie did really well when obviously.
Yes, Man of Steel was a very good movie. I like that because obviously it was, him versus Kal-El. Well, it's Superman versus Zod. Great.
Yeah, and then obviously the killing of Zod and stuff like that was super impactful, and it changed the way he did a lot of things and changed the way. But then when you put him up against Batman, you're just like,
yeah, you're talking.
And then like even just recently watching Shazam, like I watched Shazam, and it was them versus obviously the three sisters, which goes into a lot of lore and stuff, but it never really felt as big. And I feel like that's one thing that I want to see this going. And if they do take this DC villain thing further, I want to see their villains actually feel bad. Like they can do good things, but we still want them to be bad. We want them to be dark. We want them to be a little bit more brutal.
I mean, obviously, I haven't seen the new Flash movie yet, obviously, but I know it's based off Flashpoint, which was a great comic, and the actual animated one was really good. But of course, the big bad in that is the Reverse Flash, or Future Flash, or whatever. Ooh, the thousands of names that he's had over the years, but basically he's Yellow Flash. And obviously they didn't... They basically said that, no, he's not going to be in it. It's like, you can't have Flashpoint without the Reverse Flash, because it's the entire catalyst,
Yeah.
that goes back. So anyway, I was a bit like, so if he is in it, everyone's been very quiet about it if he is in it. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Because, it's been out for, a week, and I haven't seen, spoiler warning, Reverse Flash is in this. It's like, no, there's been nothing. So I'm quite confident. Although I know that the ending... I have seen is it the post credit scene or the very end scene? And
one of them.
And he meets he's meeting Bruce. Obviously he's gotten back and he feels like he's fixed everything, and he's meeting Bruce and he says, "Oh yeah, I'm just pulling up," and then Mr. Clooney steps out. So he gets George Clooney Batman instead. With the good old bat nipples. That would be interesting. sort of thing. But yeah. So I feel like DC doesn't really have good villains, sort of thing.
No.
I mean, you've got things like, all right, don't get me wrong, you got like Darkseid, obviously the big god, the big bad evil god and all that jazz. But that's a bit too high level, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Zod is a good one. Superman versus Zod. You got Kryptonian versus Kryptonian. Fab.
But the difference was it felt big.
Yes.
Like it felt grand.
Yeah.
Like even when you watch the Justice League, like you kind of see them fighting, and it did give like even Josh Whedon's one to its respect is the guy did feel like he was big and bad because all the Justice League did. But then it kind of felt like that when Superman did come in, Superman was so powerful that it was like absolutely nothing. And then you're kind of like, then why is the Justice League even there? Just why doesn't Superman just take care of everything?
Yeah.
And it just made it, to me, it made the other ones feel really weak and petty because they couldn't do anything. And then he's like fighting a 12-year-old kid. And I felt like it kind of also weakened all your other ones by trying to make it like really cool and big and stuff. Like, why wouldn't you have Superman come in and then you make the team come in and have a better synergy between the way they fought and different things? It just, I don't know, it just felt very bizarre in the way they did certain things.
Now, do you feel like I mean, is it because Marvel? I feel that all of Marvel's characters are a bit more grounded. I mean, okay,
Yes.
don't get me wrong. Like, for example, like if we're talking about space, like anything to do with space, like obviously, DC we've got Green Lantern. Okay, guy with a power ring, flies around the universe, and he's basically space cop, fab. Whereas Guardians of the Galaxy, boy was kidnapped. Boy was kidnapped at a young age and all this jazz, and becomes a Ravager, and then does good and blah blah blah, and then they become good hero. Well, sort of that grey area of heroes where they're good, but they're also a bit,
But I think that's what it is. I think
is it because they're a bit more grounded than the other side of things, and that's the reason why we all like the Marvel side of things, because you get the same level of ridiculousness. It's like
but I think there's and I think it's weird. Even when they do aliens and even when they do this, there's a human element that you can connect with. And though they may be big and grand or they may do certain things, there's still like a connection. Like I think the reason why Batman has done so well is because for whatever reason, there's a little bit of realness there where it's a rich guy doing this stuff. Like and in the same vein, Tony Stark, and that works. But then with Superman, it's kind of like what's the point of anyone going up against him while he's around? Yeah. He's pretty much unstoppable. And when, especially with the end of Justice League, I'm like, you literally have taken all these heroes that you've been trying to build, and then you kind of went, even when all of them work together in a really, really clever way and stuff like this, they're still kind of pointless because Superman could have just done it in 8 seconds flat.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose thinking about it, probably the best villains in DC are probably mainly Batman ones, because Joker's great, Two-Face, the Riddler, he's depending, but Ra's al Ghul and the League of Shadows and all that jazz. So I would actually say probably Batman has the better villains, sort of thing.
Yeah, but I think it's because of that human element. Like, I don't know, I just felt like, I mean, like the guy that they got, obviously in Justice League, felt like a big bad because he was actually winning and he was doing different things.
Steppenwolf.
Darkseid. Was it? Steppenwolf.
Sorry, the original was Steppenwolf, and then in the director's cut, it's mainly all about Darkseid and all that jazz.
Yeah. But then what happened is you kind of then went, okay, cool, so he's a big bad, this could be cool, I want to see how they win this, maybe with Superman in the three, or they can all team up and do this. Yeah. But then he kind of just felt like a throwaway. Like as soon as Superman came out, he felt throwaway. Yeah. And I think with the villains in Marvel especially is you may not root for them, but you can kind of see why they're doing certain things. They have elements of you going, I can understand why they're doing this. But then they also have kind of, in a way, that they could quite win this. Like it's not completely as black and white as that. And that's the one thing I've always been disappointed with DC is the villains. And now that Sony's doing kind of like a villain thing in that same vein, I'm curious to see how it goes, because they're probably going to have to bring back Morbius, love it or hate it. He's part of that now. Obviously, Vulture.
Well, this is the thing. So obviously, in the very end of the trailer of Kraven, we see the Rhino. Well, we see the guy transforming into the Rhino. Now, obviously, I know there's been lots of breakdowns of the trailer already and all this jazz, and people are like, well, hang on, because he removes, the guy removes something from the side, and he's like, well, hang on, is he injecting himself with a serum, or has he taking something that allows him to look human, and if he disconnects it, he then goes back into his Rhino form. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting, but obviously we're going to get Rhino. I think the only ones we haven't... So from the start, sort of like thinking back, you've Kingpin needs to be touched. Kingpin would be, but then again, Kingpin's
No,
always
they've had Kingpin in the TV series, and I think he's going to be back in the whatchamacallit.
Yeah.
I still think, man, I still bring back my favorites like Deathstroke and stuff. Like we've seen Deathstroke.
Deathstroke.
Yeah.
No, Deathstroke.
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke is DC.
Oh, sorry, not Death. What's the other one that's like Deathstroke?
Deadpool.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. No, there's another one that's like them, I think. Oh no, I'm thinking something else. Sorry.
No, Deathstroke was created, and then Marvel created Deadpool just to take the mick out of it, and that's the reason why he's so goofy, sort of thing.
Yeah.
He's like, although he's the best assassin in the world, it's still Deadpool, and he.
But I thought Morbius and that word Death. Oh no, because
So
no, Morbius. Is Morbius DC or Marvel? No, he's Marvel, isn't he?
All these ones are Marvel. So Venom.
Yes,
so you got
sorry.
your Venom, you got your Morbius, you got your Kraven. You've got from old Superman. Oh, it's old Superman. Old Spider-Man villains. I mean, you've got things like obviously the Chameleon, but the Chameleon in the comics is stepbrother to Kraven, and they do name drop him in the trailer, which is his full brother. So that's who the Chameleon is. So potentially we could see the Chameleon. Maybe, but it'll be interesting. As well as, obviously, we've got the Rhino, Scorpion. The Scorpion hasn't ever had a thing. It's been name dropped in the Tom Holland Spider-Man. I think it was the first one. Was it the first one? Yeah, it was the first one. In Matt Garner. You know, the guy who turns up to buy the weapons off the Vulture.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and he has a scorpion tattoo there because it's his gang symbol. But basically, that he became the Scorpion. So that we could see that. That would be interesting. Obviously, the Vulture, we've already got the Vulture. So I don't think that Sony will be able to touch that. What else is there? Kingpin.
I mean, there's Lizard.
Lizard. They've had the Lizard already. So we've got the
Sandman. You could bring back.
They could try Sandman again. That'd be interesting. But then again, Marvel have kind of got that now because they brought him back for Doctor Strange. No, Spider-Man No Way Home. That was it. Spider-Man No Way Home. Yeah, they brought. They had Sandman in that. So yeah, but you know they are getting. I'm about to say it is interesting to see how many more. I mean, because there's like things like the Black Cat, who's always been an anti-hero, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, Black Cat. Yeah, that was another one I was thinking of.
Sort of thing. Black Cat could be interesting. Felicia Day. I don't know how, because the problem that I remember, her main storyline was that her father was a spy and he learnt the secret, the super soldier serum secret, and blah blah blah, and X, Y, and Z, and you know, and then she ended up getting injected with the powers, and so basically she becomes Captain America. It's for the female version. Yeah, it was very interesting. But I am interested to see how they're gonna go with it, but I don't know how much more they've got in the tank, especially now that Marvel have pretty much got all their IP back. So it's like,
and that's the hardest thing. Like, I do think they've got a lot of especially because some of their villains have done well. And some of their villains haven't. Like, for example, what's his name? Vulture. Vulture was such a good villain, plus also the fact that it was Michael Keaton and stuff. That also added a lot to the Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying about good villains. And I'm like, I think that's what we need to do is we need to focus on some of the good ones. Like the way they did Rhino, where it looked like he took off a glove or he took off something that stopped putting like an antidote into him and he was able to do that. That's cool. Like, I like that they brought back all the obviously old guys from all the other Spider-Man movies and brought back Spider-Man. But I'm like, now that you've done that, it's very hard to have like Green Goblin and stuff in the Tom Holland's world. And that's the thing that I'm trying to, like, how do you bring that back?
But you can't. I mean, the fact is that obviously with this entire multiverse thing, it's all about variants. So they could easily have their own. They could easily have their own Green Goblin. I mean, it's not going to be. I forgot his name.
William Dafoe.
It's not going to be William Dafoe. And top performance that was. Amazing performance.
Yeah, 100%. But that's the thing. But how do you bring that back in a way?
God forbid. How would you? Who? Oh, could you imagine saying, "Oh, right, I've got to. Oh, you cast me great. Oh, a Marvel movie, fabulous. oh, it's a Spider-Man movie, and you just levels goes up. Who am I playing? Green Goblin? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. Because no performance you could ever do as an actor is going to top William Dafoe's. he nailed it, like seriously did, and it's just like I don't know how anyone would be able to top the Green Goblin, William Dafoe, but it would be interesting to see. I think,
but that's my problem. I feel like by bringing those guys in, like if you had it stopped at the third film, it was a big wow. It was a big moment to go off on. But my problem is now that you've done that, I do think it limits how or who you can bring in, because it's hard to now be like, okay, this is this person, but completely different. And I don't know, like I feel like it's kind of muddied the waters a little bit if you're going to try to bring some of these people back.
Yeah. Well, it's obviously like last weekend, me and Eddie, because we had a father-son day to ourselves, and because Eddie was at work, we went and watched the new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie.
Oh yeah.
I tell you what, it was actually it was good. Have
you seen the original?
I've seen the original. We love the original, and I kind of went in with right. I know that this is going to have a sequel, so I know at some point it's going to have to sort of stop and all that jazz. And I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. Let's see how it goes. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. But yeah, it was good how they did it, because like obviously Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, has mastered some tech that's able to take advantage of the multiverse and all this jazz. So the fact that he mentions Tom Holland and Doctor Strange.
Oh really?
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
He said that especially that kid from Earth, but they use the old because before Doctor Strange movie, the sequel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe was Earth 9999 or something like that. It was that sort of, and that's the way they called it. But then when they had the second Doctor Strange movie, it was then Earth 616. I was like, okay, fine, fair dues. But Sony used Earth 9999. They said, that especially that kid from Earth 999, Doctor Strange messing up and throwing out anomalies left, right, and center, sort of thing. And, so which was interesting.
That's kind of funny.
But I tell you what, it was great. Watch it when they end up going, and you just see all these different Spider-Man. I'm like, oh, I remember that one. Oh, I've seen that one as well. It's hilarious. Eddie was just found it fascinating, but then eventually we got out, and I said, well, what was your favourite bit? Because we always do that when we watch a movie together. It's like, oh, what was your favourite bit? And he's just like, honestly, the bit where they're all chasing him and they're all the different Spider-Man are after him, and it's just so cool. And it's just like, yeah, it does look cool. I will admit, it just looks.
It'd be kind of weird too, just to see Spider-Man trying to attack Spider-Man, and
of course they'd have to.
Because I haven't actually seen it yet, but I want to.
It is good. Honestly, I do recommend it, and the ending. I'm not even going to say a word. The ending is like really good twist. Obviously, it's literally the cliffhanger that leaves you going, when's the next one out? Oh, I've got to wait a year. Are you hitting me? But you already know it's funny, done, and they're in post-production. You already know that, but it's like, oh my god. But it was definitely a good movie to watch, and obviously it sort of brings this multiversal aspect in, which is quite interesting, especially when you get to see all these different variants of Spider-Man. It's really funny.
And the cool thing is it kind of rides that wave of what we've just had with obviously Doctor Strange and the last Spider-Man. So it's kind of nice to keep that wave going.
Well, we've got it as well from the latest Ant-Man movie as well, with Quantumania and seeing all the versions of Kang at the end, sort of thing. So
that's true. That's true.
Obviously we were in the Infinity Stone arc, and that finished, and now we're in the multiversal saga, I think they call it, or whatever it is. But
yeah,
I'm very, very interested to see Marvel pulling this off. But at the same time, I understand that Sony wants to be good again, but I think they've kind of got things have gone down since Venom 1. I think the problem is that they did Venom 1 and it was done so well, and then it's every other movie that's come out afterwards is just not hitting the same level. And I think
I found it weird though that they just kind of
the villain aspect is the problem.
Yeah, and that's the thing the problem is, though, is that the second one felt like, we went really villainy and that kind of worked, but we still wanted to kind of be a hero-esque thing here. But like in the first film, it didn't feel like you didn't feel forced for him to be a hero.
Yeah.
Where in this one, it was just kind of like it just didn't feel like it didn't hit right. It just felt like it was forced a little bit that they were trying to make him more this, but then they also seem to really like dumb him down and make him like really kiddie and stuff and petty, and it's just like
he's throwing tantrums left, right, and center and blah blah blah. And...
like it just I don't know. For me, I was just like I got what they're going with, and I kind of maybe understand it, but I probably would have done that more in the first film than the second, because the second one they've obviously been around more. He's just taken out Red. There's all these different factors.
Yeah,
I'm like just don't be like that. Like having them two break up or whatever, you kind of go, okay, cool. I can kind of understand that because he won't let him eat people or whatever. But like it felt more like throwing a tantrum rather than in the first one where he got angry at him and he actually like threw him around and did things to him. Where this one kind of felt more like a little teenage tantrum.
It is true.
I think that's the thing. I think that's the thing that killed me from it. I'm like, oh man, like there was so much promise. I'm like, and you just went PG rating.
Yeah, and likewise, obviously, it was just it was good that they were going to do Carnage. I loved the fact they were going to do Carnage, but again, it was like, it just does not hit the mark. And I think it would have been better if it wasn't Woody Harrelson. Possibly.
See, I liked Woody Harrelson. I think he would have done a great job, but I felt like he didn't get hardly any screen time. I felt like they didn't build the character at all. Like they built him up, then they gave him kind of Carnage, and then it just was kind of like this kind of like little pansy kind of fight at the end, and that was it. I'm like, it felt like when they originally brought Venom in, where they just went, here, the guy from the 70s show, you take Venom for a bit. He took him for a bit, and then he kind of went, and I'm dead. And I'm like, why would you build him up just to pretty much have him be slapped twice and die? And the problem is I felt like that kind of happened with Carnage, where they had this really evil character in Woody Harrelson. I think the way that he played that kind of serial killer was amazing. Then you gave him Venom, which was also good. And then when the two of them actually came together in that one fight scene, that's all it was. And it was just kind of like bang, bang, boom, boom, and done. You're like...
Yeah, it's really funny. What I find hilarious about is when he goes, whoa, that's a red one. And but they do not... Venom does not explain that any beyond that. It's like, okay, and why would that matter? It's still a symbiote. But no, it's a red one. And it's like... Okay. The fact is that obviously in the post-credit scene when he gets pulled out and obviously the multiversal switch over and he bleeds into the Tom Holland Spider-Man universe, and it's just like, at the very end, you're like, oh, okay, cool. But the fact is, because you realise that he talks about all the multiversal knowledge that the symbiotes can hold. So obviously there is the knowledge of Carnage.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
But yeah, I don't know.
But
like
the
it
fact
just
that he goes, it's a red one. It's like, really? Can we not have had a bit more of an explanation, or him explaining, oh my god, this is really bad for us. We need to kill him. We need to just we need to get rid of him now.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I don't know. Like, yeah, that's my problem is I feel like sometimes when they do the sequel, like I understand that the sequel is never going to be good as the original, or if it is, it's like very limited to it.
Apart from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, and then obviously, and then The Godfather too and stuff. But you know what I mean? Like I get that in a lot of cases it's not going to be as good, because especially when you watch the first one, there is this very big wow factor because you're not used to seeing it, or you don't know how it is. Yeah. So yes, but at least don't change them so much that you just like the character feels like that you've come into this film and you've kind of gone, we had to create one for 13-year-olds because they couldn't watch the original one.
Yeah, I think that's also the problem. Is the reason why that when obviously Marvel bought, when Disney bought Fox to get all the IP back for Marvel, which is great. Everyone was like, well, hang on. What are you going to do about Deadpool 3? And they went, what do you mean? I went, well, the first two movies have been R-rated for reasons. because it's Deadpool. And they were like, well, and then Disney had to come out with an official statement saying, we will not change anything in relation to Deadpool. And they were like, Okay, sweet. No, and everyone was suddenly on board with it. Great, fab.
But that's sort of, and I think, but to be fair though, I think it had Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds would have just ad-libbed it all anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. But like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like Sony need to get out of their own way and stop being like Wolverine. Deadpool has proved that you can make an R-rated movie and it will sell and do well.
Yes,
true. Maybe if you made it a 15 plus, it may do slightly better. But the difference is you're also means though that rather than being that over 18 crowd that's probably going to be more likely to go watch it and more likely to watch it numerous times and more likely to get obsessed with it. Yeah. Where versus if you dumb it down to include those 15-year-old plus, I think the problem is you're going to lose some of the people that are in the over 18 because it feels like it's been watered down. Like at the end of the day, there's a reason why when you drink scotch, you have to be over 18. Like, if I had a drop of scotch into a whole heap of water so my 15-year-old can drink it, over 18-year-olds not going to enjoy it. I'm just saying.
That is the worst analogy known to man, but I like it. We're going that has to be kept in.
Why? I like it, but it's true though. Like, I mean, like an 18-year-old's not going to if you're going, we're going to make an over 15-year-old bar, and you get half a shot of scotch, and the rest is water. And you're going to go, these 18-year-olds are going to go there and going to be like, why am I drinking this? I'll just go to a bar that's over 18 and drink it. And you're going to lose a ton of business. And I feel like that's what they're kind of doing. Like, it just feels like it's watering it down for no apparent reason.
Yeah. So anyway, we're excited from the trailer. I'm excited to see Kraven the Hunter, and that's
Kraven. I'm hella excited about.
I am interested. It's coming out this year. Does it say when? Ooh, no, it does not. That's not helpful. No. Release date 6th of October. There we go. It's out on October 6th. So no doubt we'll be having an update on this episode of what we. It's like,
I think it'd be rude not to. I think it'd be rude not to. But I'm excited for it. Like, I think it's cool. I like the idea of it. I mean, having spent time in Africa and stuff, it does kind of have that feel. Even if the dad's part South African, part Russian mobster, in this weird kind of slight Aussie way, where it's just horrible. But I'm just hoping that they do it in a way that builds stuff, and it just isn't a supervillain with daddy issues that just wants to kill people so that he can get to his daddy and then kill daddy, which it kind of feels a bit like that.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be interesting. Looking forward to it. So, before we wrap up, we just want to say a big thank you to all our recent subscribers and followers. Thank you very much. If you can,
and our old subscribers,
and the old ones, we still love the old ones. You're still there. I'll say, if you can, obviously make sure you like, subscribe, share, do everything else. It helps us all the algorithms and blah 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 and all that jazz. It's very useful to us. The dogs are all kicking off. Fabulous. Beyond that,
it's like, Daddy, are you finished? Watch me bark just before you finish.
Of course, because they have to interrupt me while we're recording, of all moments. But beyond that, if you can also follow us on our Facebook, on our. I've got my brains all messed up now.
He's like, I've just lost it.
If you can follow us at Dorks Down Under on our Twitter and our TikTok, as well as obviously find us available on all good podcast apps, as well as seeing our beautiful faces on our YouTube channel and Spotify now, which is now helpful and great. So we want to say a big thank you and a big much love to everyone. And pretty much peace out from me down in New Zealand.
Later, people.
Laters.